share with you a conversation that a few of us had with Mark before he left regarding what their proposal is for the statewide student information system. When Mark was talking in his presentation about a group of people, he was talking about his vision is to put together a consortium comprised of school districts and ADE that will work together to develop the student information system and manage it in the future so that it's a long-term project and no longer be ADE telling us what we have to give to them, but to work together. They have obviously, you all heard it, they've been working with some vendors looking at some different things, but there are no decisions that have been made. Those decisions will come out of the group of people who work to put together what we need, and then the RFP will go out, and then the decision will be made. He shared with us that there have actually been a couple of legislators who said, go buy a product and that's the way it's going to be, and he's told them, no, that's not going to work. That's not what the school district wants. The school districts want, so we have to work together to develop what we need. The point of my telling you this is, we want your feedback, okay? I've, of course, volunteered to be on it. Rose is obviously going to be on it since she's the head of it, so Susie's volunteered to be on it. There's no restriction on who's going to volunteer to be part of this group, but please, please, please send me your concerns, your insights, what you want. I know sometimes sitting in a room full of 120 people, it can be intimidating to ask a question. So it's sometimes easier through an email. Send me an email, just as I'm committed to doing the best I can and represent all of you as the ASCUS president, we will do the same thing. Even if I'm not on the committee, I will make sure that Rose gets the information and Susie gets the information so that everybody's interests and everybody's needs are properly addressed. This is a huge change. This whole proposal is taking the world of business and bringing it into education, which is a very unique concept. But it's something that needs to be done because education is changing and the data that we need is changing. Mark was sharing that his overall plan's been reviewed by somebody who, excuse me, somebody over in the Netherlands who does this for a living, you know, looks at projects and analyzes them, and that the plan that he's put together, this outside consultant considers to be excellent. So the way he described it to us, it looks like it's a great idea to me as well. But again, I want to make sure that everybody's interests, everybody's concerns, and everybody's needs are addressed. So don't be shy about it. Send me an email so that we can put together that information. You look at the timeline, it's not very long. It's a short timeline. This is the 7th of February, and in 3 weeks they're looking at having a meeting. So we need to make sure that we get that information together right away, and then we will put it back out to you too, so that you know what's being talked about and you know what is being considered to make sure that you can comment back on that. So if we make this a two-way street, I look at this as a tremendous opportunity, because for those of us who've been around a long time, and how many conversations did we have about things being shoved down our throats and we had to do it their way? That's not what Mark wants. Mark wants this to work together, because we need them and they need us, and I think this is a tremendous opportunity to make this work very, very well. So, please don't be shy about sharing your questions, information, whatever, with me, so that I make sure that we get that to the committee. So, I'd like to welcome Lori Ventura. She's here to talk about the student-teacher course connection, the lessons learned from the 40th day, talking about what's coming up for the 100th day. So, Lori?
Hello? I think I got unplugged here for a moment. Let me figure this out real quick. Pardon. Is this anything to do with it?
Maybe. If not, we'll get our text. Is this sign over here? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
Much again for having me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love this group. You guys are smart, you get it, you ask good questions, you're timely in everything that you do. We learn so much from you. I just, it's a grateful feeling in my heart to be able to come and speak with you and listen to you as well. But while I was listening, I thought I was on earlier. So I'm sitting and it turned out to be a really good opportunity because I got to listen to Mark, and and I work for Mark and I know what is being planned and so on and so forth, and sometimes I'm not for sure what I can share and what I can't, and sometimes when he speaks off the cuff like he did semi today, I learned something new that I didn't know, and so it was really great. And then listening to Finance Guy as well, CW, I was just sat and I just took notes really quickly. Block schedules, finance systems, AOI, FTE, bell schedules, curriculum, attendance, course mapping, HQT, can't read my writing, audits, diversity report, instructional time, feedback on ADE changes on what's going on, and STC. Wow, that's you guys, right? Isn't that this group? You and your department and all the people that run this? So I bow to you, in all of the many different hats that you wear, and you're probably, in some districts you're not just these things, you're, maybe your other things as well. So I just wanted you to, let's each other and also yourself, I'd like to give you a round of applause. A lot. I know you do. So, are we on yet? Wait a minute. I thought, could I be the culprit here? No. Okay, well, oh no, here it is. Okay. I just wanted to, I won't make you sit. I'll just read off of this until we get it. Is that okay? Just to let you know, what I had planned for you today is how is the state progressing on STC reporting overall. I want to give you a feel and a sense of where you fit in, what you all have accomplished, so on and so forth. We did have some very heavy lessons learned from 40th day. And I'm sure you probably took some lessons from your experience, tucked them into, your pocket or wherever, and you've learned lessons as well. And from your feedback, we've been able to make some changes and that will streamline things. Hi. That's okay. We also have some 100th day updates. We're in 100th day window right now, so we have some updates for you. I also had to, through the course since, I think January, we've made some catalog updates, so I just wanted to give you a brief overview of those catalog updates. The most recent one are some CTE zip codes that were embedded into the high school catalog, so it takes the guesswork out of which course you need to pick, when you're trying to schedule those Arizona State course codes. Talk a little bit about, we have confirmed dates for obviously the 100th day because that's where we are right now. And some tentative end-of-year reporting dates. And then just a little bit of tidbit of information that I just wanted to pass. And then we're going to have a celebration, because I want to show you the numbers of what's going on. It's not looking good. So what did you say about the zip codes? Do you remember, I think one of the times I was here, I was able to work with the ADE-CTE department, and they provided the CTE, all of the courses and the programs, or the programs and all the courses that were inside those programs. Each one of them has a zip code, right? Well, what they did was they took the guesswork out of for all of us, and they did a course walk, so like 59.0600.10, equates to AZ01 something something. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I did was I just embedded that zip code inside the Arizona State Course Catalog course description. So like AZ01, blah, 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 whatever it happens to be, the zip code is in the course description, so you don't even have to, you just use that big catalog by Control F, find what you're looking for by zip code, and you'll find the course that, you know, and you don't have to choose that one, but it came from CTE, ADE folks. Yeah? Go ahead.
So if you got that after you submitted your...
I knew you were gonna say that.
All right, so tell me...
Okay. Oh, okay. You have two choices, really. You can go with it the way you've gone already. It's not going to be that big of a huge impact, you know, on, because as Mark was saying, the information is going to go back to you, right? So if you know kind of, well, this year we know, and this is what we did, and this is the information that we're going to get back, then it's okay. If you do change them, what do you have to do? Come on, you guys know. What do you have to do if you're on your 100th day and you want to change a course code?
Recertify your 40th.
Yeah. So you'd have to go back to your your system, change your Arizona State course codes in the field, or if you did Coursewalk, re-upload those. Recertify your 40th to make your 100th match for that. It's completely up to you. No one is telling you that you know, spaghetti, you have to do it. So it's completely up to you. It's just the timing of when we got it, you know. Catalog updates obviously are ideal in the summer, I would say, you know, when you're trying to plan and so on and so forth. Probably even before that, right? You guys doing your scheduling right now for next year? Okay, so now's the optimal time. Oh, you have to see this. Boy, look at this. This is cool.
I'm working on it.
Now, I wanted to give you the... What's his name? Christian. Sorry.
All eyes are on you. I'm going to restart it.
Okay.
Like 100 people watching over while you're working on it.
Quick questions that I can answer for you? Oh my gosh. Yes.
Still a lot of questions about grades being submitted K-12. So hopefully you can clear that.
Grades. There's still a lot of questions about grades, K-12. Grades are required. I have actually a slide here. I think I've said it several times, but I'll say it again. Grades are required when a student exits a course with, remember the codes? What were the codes? You guys remember those? CF, which is content complete course, or content complete full credit. Now, the thing that has caused the biggest confusion is the Christian. Thank you, sir, so much. May I come back to grades? Do you mind? Because I do have a slide and it kind of rolls into that. Would that be okay? All right. There was another question. Yes, Kelly.
You were talking about the catalog. Do you expect any more new additions before the end of this month?
Well, you know, a lessons learned for me also and the team as to be as much as we can. This was a first year rollout. You know, it's kind of a weird project. We're kind of like in production and beta testing and training all in one. So it's been kind of a unique situation. Ideally, no catalog changes will come out. We'll hold on to them. Right now, I don't have any requests, and we haven't found anything that we're, you know, grossly missing. So I think we'll be okay. I'd like to make it a, that maybe it's only updated twice a year. I'll talk to you vendors of when it would be a good time, to get that in your system. And if you guys have any thoughts as far as users, when would that be a good time for you as well, if we had to do some updates, so.
It does make it tough in the changing of the programs, at least here, as we do, we offer the whole list.
By uploading it into your system, and then once you do that, then it's free reign to just pick, right? Yeah. Which kind of messes up the 40th and 100th, depending. I understand. Okay. Okay, here's what I wanted to show you. Here's how we're doing. Can you guys see that okay? Do we need to do lights or anything? I wanted to show you where we are 40th day by vendor. So each one of the vendors are listed here, and based on the number of clients, customers that they have, the number complete divided by the number of customers that they have is what is the result here. There's still probably, I don't know, there's a good chunk that we still just, for some reason we haven't collected that information. So anyway, there's a small amount here. But as you can see, how are you doing? How's your vendor doing? Any reaction to that at all? No? Okay. I just wanted to give you a picture. Also, we have, I don't know if you know, that we have regional, we have regions, 5 regions in the state of Arizona. As far as this, I don't know if it's this project or what. No, it's based on the ESA, which is the Educational Service Agencies. So you've got Region 1, which contains these particular counties, so on and so forth. And so you can see, basically, where do you fit in? And you'll see that this is actually 40th day only. I'm sorry, I didn't have that on the slide. But we're about neck and neck across the state. Yeah? I know. All right, and here's how we're doing charter versus districts by size. I don't know if you can see this, but the blue represents the charters and the red represents the districts. And then I broke it down even further about if you're a very small system, 0 to 200 kids, small 201 to 500, medium 500 to 2,000, 2,000 to 8,000, 8,020, and the very large over 20,000. So here's how we're doing here. So find yourself. I think it's interesting to look at these numbers. And I think it's interesting to give numbers back to you so you can see, how do you fit in. Any questions about either one of those, all 3 of those slides, or you want to see any others, or see them again? Is there a slide or a distribution or a table that you'd like to see that I could perhaps put together, give to Nancy and the ladies and give it back to you? Is there something that you'd like to see? I'm happy to put it together for you as far as stats. Awesome. Okay, so we learned a lot, 40th day. And what I'm going to do is just kind of share with you what we've learned and what we've done. I don't, and most of this you're going to go, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, just to let you know, the 40th day window does remain open. Why? Because we want the data. Why? Because we want to give it back to you and do all those cool things that Mark was talking about today. So we left it open. If you go on and you're trying to do your 100th day certification and you find that you have to go back to your 40th day, just to let you know, we get notification of that. And the reason why, it's not Big Brother at all, it's we're trying to track and figure out what can we do better. So if we see that, Phoenix Union has, recertified their 40th day to get their 100 to work, so on and so forth, we're collecting all that. And I just picked Nancy, but, yes, you will. Yes, you will. Nancy But I did want to let you know that you should get a little window here that just says, hey, are you sure you really want to redo this? That's just a, that's a normal warning. Okay, we have a lot of issue that we had duplicate, now we're going to 40. Try to take yourself out of 100 if you're in 100. Go back to 40 and like when you first started getting errors and whatnot. We had a lot of duplicate course enrollments, and the first here, these were all the items that we were validating against. One that we really noticed that we probably should put in there that's hugely unique is the section identifier. So if you use the section identifier, like I could be in Mrs. Jones' first hour Algebra 1 class, and John, you could be in third hour Mr. Garcia's Algebra 1 class, but if there was not a section identifier, a lot of times you got, I went from Mrs. Jones to Mr. Garcia. It looked like I had duplicate course enrollments, that I was in the same Algebra 1 course. And so we added the section identifier so that if you do have a section identifier, it'll further distinguish those. And so that took care of a lot of that. I know we had a few vendors that were having a hard time with that, and they did some changes on their end as well. So this one's pretty much gone away. Just to let you know, it's only an error still when two records have overlapping course entry and course exit dates. If not, then you're good. Okay, any questions? Anybody still, just as a show of hands, still having duplicate course section enrollments problems? Yay, or you don't know? Okay. In the same course. The section identifier should have alleviated that for you. If not, they're just, okay. Okay. Let's look at that, because as long as these items are all, if you can get a section identifier in there, it should be good. It could still be the same life skills course, first hour and second hour, but if it has a different section identifier, that's going to be the kicker and help you with that. Okay. Okay, then that should be a non-issue. And if it is, call me. JTEDs. Previously, if you were a school and your kiddos were part of a satellite JTED and they attend, Cabot or Gift or whoever, you showed up under the JTED dependencies as far as schools. So Bullhead City High School. It showed as a dependency under, I don't know my geography very well, so I don't know which one they would have gone to, but whatever that JTED that they would have gone to, it would have showed an error for them, and it would have showed an error for you, because you were a dependency on them and they were a dependency on you. So what we did was we removed that completely. Does that make sense? I hope so. Because it was a yucky, because you got this one, open school without course sections. Well, I'm not reporting on those kiddos. So it really helped the JTEDs a lot, for sure. Remember, as far as JTEDs goes, only the centralized JTEDs are the ones that report their kiddos. You should be reporting your kids that go to a satellite, because the satellites aren't. We had a lot of, this is just I think you know this, but we had a lot of invalid character warnings, like some of the, mostly the East Indian names and some of the Native American names have some different characters in their names. Well, we removed all those dependencies. We just gave you a warning for those. So we removed a couple errors. Makes things a bit easier. Yes, ma'am?
I kept getting errors on SACE numbers, even though the SACE numbers were correct. Is it the student name?
Actually, I'm really glad you brought that up. One of the biggest errors that people get all the time is their HQT errors and their SACE errors. Most of the time, the SACE error is because the student is not properly attached to the school inside SACE or SACE Online. So you need to make sure that 1000% that student has an enrollment date or a membership date in your school. Now, are those different? Membership and enrollment? Okay, well the student, I'm not a SACE expert, I apologize, but the student has to be on the school's roster for which you're reporting them. Okay, well then we've got to, we'll have to dig into it.
It's like a junior or the third or that name at the end of the last name.
So what you have to do is you have to make, just like HQT, you have to make your SIS system match exactly what's in HQT. And if there's a Smith/JR without a period, it has to be in your system, Smith space JR. You know, it has to match completely.
What if they do match completely? I have like 3 or 4 right now where I've got 80 long sizes of my SIS. Every piece of data matches every state. Everything that they're in there, while they're in the right sections, everything is matched. And I still cannot figure out why this is STCC getting off that standard. I had I need to try retyping the name just to see if there's any embedded here, but I can't figure out who these.
Okay. I don't. And I haven't responded to you? Give me the spaghetti. Okay, I'll be sure to check that out. I kind of, okay. I apologize to you publicly. All right. Anything else about student names or whatnot? I'm sorry?
How about teacher names?
Teacher names. This is the same. It's the same deal.
So what happens if you send up for the 40th day with the teacher under one name and she gets married, changes the HQT?
I'm so excited.
We send it up at the 100th day and she errors out.
She's not going to now, because we made a huge change. We whiteboarded. You should see my office. We whiteboarded everything. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's coming. I'll show you. We removed that dependency because we know student movement or teacher movement is going to happen. School dependencies. Some of you have schools in your district that have no students in them, and they're in the process of, or maybe it's just a transferring district or a school or something. But if there are no open SACE, if there are an open school as reported by school finance in our enterprise system without any enrollments, we will not validate against that. So before it was giving you an error, and it was a nightmare to try to help you go through finance and, you know, several departments. So we removed that. You know what schools are open and which not. Yes, sir?
We didn't remove that. I'm still getting that error.
Removed that quite a while ago. So you have an open school, there's no kiddos in there, and you're still getting an error?
Yeah, it was like a preschool, kindergarten school. They only had preschool and kindergartners. But now all we have is preschool.
Where are you from?
I did.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're on our list. No, you're on our list of to-dos. I know exactly that issue. Yours is kind of a unique situation. I think it has to do with the PK and the K. PK's, you know, right, pre-kindergarten, because we don't collect any data on PK. Yeah, so that's what it has to do. It's something with school finance. They need to change some sort of code. So, pardon? Yeah. Yep. It might be we're waiting from, thank you very much. It might be that we're waiting for information from Isaac, or it might be that, not we, but school finance. So we'll take care of it for you. Is this 40th or 100th?
It's hold up my 40th right now, and my 100th is ready to go, it's holding up too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will talk to Sarah when I get back to the office, and I think she's the one that's assigned that one to take care of it, or it could be Helena. But
It's Helena.
okay. She asked me about it about just a couple days ago. External provider teachers, teacher one versus provider teacher. So let's say your course section contains these data. You don't have a teacher one because they're an external provider. So this is blank, and you've got in your provider last name Smith and Joe for, you know, cosmetology 101, whatever. Student section enrollment, if your vendor has taken this and put it here when they extract the file, there's no problem. And I believe that's what they're all doing right now. So if they have something here in the provider, they're putting it over here. If you somehow get an error that says there's no teacher assigned to this kiddo's 101, cosmetology 101 class, then all you need to do manually or however you're going to do it, take that from the file and then place it into the student section enrollment file. But I think your vendor's taking care of that for you. If those two match, then no problem. SRM can at least find a match and go, okay, that's good. Before, that wasn't happening and it was causing errors.
Lori?
Yes, ma'am.
Should Smart Schools teacher be listed as a provider as well?
Smart schools are people that have retired and come back.
But we don't employ them, they're employed by another company that we contract.
Then that's an external provider.
Okay, I just want to verify. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Did you hear that? Smart school employees should be external providers. File management, just a couple tips here for you. We were worried, you know, some of you larger districts were a bit worried about your file size. We've gotten rid of that. If you can install Microsoft Silverlight, it should not be a problem for you. If you run into some sort of error with file size, please let me know, and we will work through it. We also had, remember how far we've come? Remember the date issue? Does anybody remember the date issue? When you opened up an Excel file, everything reverted back to the wrong date format? Oh, we were getting silly errors on date format. Well, I just told the ESP, the makers of SRM, I said, we can't be, really? We're going to be stringent and be upset about the way that the date is reported? So we changed that. So now it's no big deal. A little bit about HQT. If the educator ID is found in HQT, but the name doesn't match, so it's Pat Smith that you have, but it's really Patrick Smith, it's just going to give you a warning if you have provided the educator ID. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. If the educator ID is not found, if we can't find it anywhere in HQT, there's an error. But that error can be eliminated, you know, by going to your HR person or you going into HQT, adding that teacher to the roster, I verify, and boom, they're done. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, and we did a courtesy for you. If SRM finds an educator ID that was not included in the extract report, but you gave the first, last, middle initial, and birth date, because remember that's the other way to validate. If we found the educator ID, we spit it back out for you. So now you have it, take it from your file, put it into your system. So.
Lori, where does that show up? Is it on that error report?
Yes, ma'am. It's on your error report. Actually, it's on the violation summary report. That's an easier one to look at instead of the drill down by each error, because it's already in Excel format. Grades. Grade mark earned and rule 10709. We added a sentence to the end of definition to item 2.24, grade mark earned and rule missing grade mark. And this is what it says. While, quote, credit earned is only required for high school courses because of credit, a grade mark is required whenever a student exits a course and is considered to have partially or fully accomplished the objectives of the course. Thus, any student, K through 12, who exits a course and has an exit type of I finished it all, most likely it's going to be a CF, then that grade is required. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
So a year in, and they've completed the course?
Yeah. Yes. We need tighter verbiage right now on what kind of grade are you asking? Because I know I've been asked this question. Well, we grades 4 times a year. What kind of grade are you looking for at the end of the school year? So we need me and my ADE team and my business sponsor, which is Peter Lang. We need to figure out a way to give you good guidance on those end of year. We don't care as far as the grade. We know that, this district uses the FAME score. This district uses percentages. This district says smiles nicely. This one gives A's, B's, C's. We know that. We know it's, as Peter Lang likes to say, mixed fruit salad of grades. We know that. But it's what type of grade are we looking for? Do you want a cumulative grade? Do you just want what it is at the time? So we know we have a challenge there. I have a whole parking lot list of items, and March is when we're reviewing all of those items and making decisions and getting all out there. We didn't want to do it too soon because we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know all these lessons learned. And we didn't know what we were going to come up with against 100th day, and we hadn't heard everything yet from you guys. You guys are important in this process. So, anything else about grades?
Would you say that also means finished?
Correct. Yeah, CF is really like normal course termination. They've completed everything. The course content is complete. I really wanted to get in there and change that verbiage, all of it.
So give me some CP examples.
That's why I said that I think the CF is much better. CP would be, let's see. I can't pull one out that I like. I know. It's almost like a fluff and stuff that's just kind of thrown in there, right? I mean, because really it's either a content complete. That's why I want to remove full credit. I want to remove credit completely out of the equation. You're already reporting credit when you do credits earned. So why do we need credits on the grades, right? Just give a grade. Did they earn the credit or not? You know that if they earned a 0.25 out of the 1, that's marked clearly in that credit column. So why do we need credit over here in the grade portion? Does my thinking make sense? I think so too. Yes, ma'am.
I'm from a GTED, by the way, so we might be different than everybody else. But the kids left the course early, but they still earned partial credit because they hit, let's say, the 44 days through the first quarter. So they got 1.5 instead of the 3 credits. That's what the CP comes back as.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much. There is a great CP answer. Anything? Yes, ma'am?
If a teacher has to change a grade for a grade that went in on the 40th, would I have to revalidate if they change the grade?
Yes, but if you do that, what you would you would just want to revalidate that one or maybe a handful of records within your 40th day. You can do that right inside SRM. I would not pull you've already put it in your system, right? Okay. So what I would do, instead of re-extracting all your data and re-uploading everything, what I would do is change that one or handful, revalidate those, because you can do that right inside SRM. And if you need help with that, I'll be happy to help show you how. Anything else? Great, Joyce? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm sorry, yes. She asked, thank you very much. She asked if we have to, if a grade, let's say from the 40th day and you're in your, you're at the end of year or whatever, and someone had made a boo-boo, or you just had some grade resolution or something happened and you needed to change a grade for some reason, take those handful of whatever they happen to be, go back to your 40th day and revalidate just that particular record, not the whole thing. Because you'll have it in your system, right? It'll already be captured there. Well, there's no sense in pulling the whole thing and then redoing the whole thing over. Just change it right there. I think I saw another hand. Yes, Nancy, in front of me.
Missing credit earned?
Yeah, because we're only drawing those that 40th day.
It's only 40 days.
Have you given them a exit date? If there is an exit date, then you need to credit earned. Then put 0. Can you do that? Well, that doesn't make sense either, does it?
No, there was after the 40th day.
Okay, let me check that one out. Pretty please. So the scenario is we're getting an error because credit earned, they didn't earn any credit, and we're getting an error because something is there, or nothing was there, correct? Okay. After 40th day, or after 100th or whatnot, okay. Okay, thank you. I'll look into that. Anything else? Okay, so those were the most important things that we learned from 40th day. If you see something that we've learned that perhaps was not up there and you remember, or you learned something or whatnot, please forward it my way. I'll forward it to Nancy and they'll forward it back out to you guys. All right, so now what? We're in our 100th day window. What? Yes, sir. Are you without a vendor? Are you have a vendor?
But the vendor doesn't control what Excel can support as far as
What we've asked of vendors, I know I've had this conversation with them. I'd be interested to talk to you afterwards. What we've asked the vendors to do. His question is, when you put it Excel's lovely, isn't it? And when you open up, you extract your files. You save them on your computer, you open them up to see what it is, what you're going to submit, and remember the old date issue, that happened, we got rid of that. But now the educator ID truncates, so you've got, 1178 plus 8, right? Well, I know that when we first started doing this, we asked the vendors and we had discussion with the vendors to say, hey, when you extract the files of this information, would you please put a single or double quote in there? Because what that does is it changes the output to a text file. And that should not happen. So that's why I'm kind of interested in. But, needless to say, if you have 20 teachers in courses, then this works for you. If you have 2,000, it doesn't work for you. But what you could do is insert that single quote once you open it up and it'll revert right back for you. SRM? SRM should, because we made, right now, it's a 16-digit number with 16-digit number, 3 characters of spaces. So we asked SRM to accept 20. So that's strange that that would do that. Did you put a quote on each side? It should go right at the beginning. Okay, well let's talk. Let's look at it. I'm interested in that. Because we did ask that that SRM would elongate that field of saying, okay, at first it was only 16, which made the quote and the dashes impossible and a nightmare. So we elongated that to 20 and also to do the quote. So, I mean, I'm interested. Thank you, good question. All right, 100-day information. Here's the window submission. It opened January 21st, and our ideal, hopefully your ideal time to submit the window is January 21st through March 1st. And also you'll notice, here's something that's kind of a user error sometimes. You just get going too fast, you know, and that's fine. But there's now 2 little drop-down menus here. And you have to choose the correct one. I've had people, they'll do their 2013 when they mean to do their 40, and it comes back with like 40,000 errors. And they're like, I'm like, I'm sorry, did you do this one? So just make sure you pick the right one. There's going to be an end of year, you know, for our last final submission as well. So, yes ma'am.
So you're saying you want to have that done by March 1st? My 100th day is until February 27th.
Well, you know, I'm kidding. No. We just had to give at least some sort of a sense of, you know, because we get it all the time. When's the window open? When's it closed? When are you expecting it? So on and so forth. We know calendars are all different across the state. If you're not, you know, there by March 1st, that's okay.
So don't send an email to my superintendent saying, oh, by the way, it's not done by March 1st, you're not done.
I don't have time to do that.
Oh, but we have done that.
Sure,
Yeah.
because we're way past the 40th day,
Well,
so.
I know, but you know, we weren't, so we got that email, and it was like, wait, we haven't gotten there. So I just want to make sure that, you know, you guys are aware that, you know, I'm.
We know the calendars are different, yes, you bet.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. Changes to the file. I just want to let you know really quickly, there is a great, you're going to get different error numbers, but they're the same thing. On the 40th day, you got 10,000 errors, like 10709, 10208, whatever. Just to keep track of what's going on within SRM and its good programming is now the 100th day, the errors will come up to 20,000. But these last 3 numbers are the same. And you can expect the same thing, the 30,000 errors with the end of year report. They're the same errors, it's just number and accounting. Okey-doke. All right, there is a new error that lives out there that says, hey, you've tried to submit your 100th day, but you haven't submitted your 40th day yet. So if you try to certify, not submit, you can still upload and see what your 100th day looks like, that's not a problem. But if you try to certify a 100th error, 100th day report, it's going to give you this error of saying, no, I'm sorry, you got to do your 40th first. We haven't run into this one yet. But it's a way of being able to make sure that we get the entire year's data. Did you guys get that error? I'm saying, I know, if any table gets it, I'm just kidding. That's funny. That's what that means. Okay. This is the big one.
Yes.
Did you guys see the Whispering Library Doritos commercial? This is a library you can't Oh. Hysterical. If you haven't seen that, you got to go see that, or you got to go on YouTube or something and see that commercial. It's so funny. They completely tear the whole library apart while they're whispering, and it's about it's not Doritos, it's Oreos, about the cookie and the cream filling, and it's really funny. I loved it. And the goat one. Okay, here's the error. 20727. Missing prior student section enrollment. A student section enrollment was reported in the prior collection without an exit date. There must be a matching student record in the current submission file. So what does this mean? This means that if Billy was in third hour Algebra 1 class with Mrs. Jones, Billy needs to be in your 40th day without an exit date. Then Billy needs to show up in that third hour Algebra 1 course again in the 100th, unless he's left. SRM will know and say, Now we're getting all kinds of errors on this, and some of it has to do with vendors are still trying to figure out the solution as well. Maybe it's accounting procedures, on y'all's part. Maybe it's something that we haven't thought of yet. So it's a collective right now because it's a dependency of your 100th upon your 40th data that you've submitted. And so those of you that are in the 100-day submission right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, can you imagine? Guess what's going to happen with the end of year? It's gonna, right? 100th and 40th. Okay, but what that rule previously did not take into account is that Mrs. Jones, what happened? She's gone. And I don't think we had enough foresight to really think about student movement in these, or teacher movement in these files. So what was happening previously is that Billy was still in his third hour Algebra 1 class, but it wasn't Mrs. Smith, it's now Mr. Garcia. And we were getting errors all over the place. What were people having to do? Bad, but we were doing it for a while. And if you did this, it's okay. But what we were doing was we were going back to the 40th day file. Guess what we were doing to Mrs. Smith? Yeah, see ya! And she never got any credit for Billy's third hour Algebra 1 class because you were replacing her with Mr. Garcia, because that was one of the dependencies that we were looking at, right? So we removed that. It's just a warning. Please check your warnings. Do they make sense to you? When you get your warning, you don't have to fix them, and you won't have to fix them. But if you get warnings, make sure you take a peek at them. Does it make sense? Why? Well, Billy's still in third hour. So what we did was we removed that completely. Now, if you have already experienced this and you were the one that kicked Mrs. Smith out and put Mr. Garcia in, you're okay. It's okay. If you want to change the data to reflect really what's going on, then I will help you undo and redo. Okay? I will help you do that. I'll sit with you and help you do that. In fact, I'll do it. You send me the files, I'll do it for you. But with the stuff that Mark was talking about today, teacher evaluation, so on and so forth, we just can't have that we can't kick Mrs. Smith out. She's probably really important. So that's what we did. What that means is if it can't link the 40th day T1 with reported T1 in 100th day, just a warning now will occur. That's the biggest issue and the biggest win we've had thus far. Any questions on that? Just really quick, I want to go over some grades really quick because this is now the time when grades are really going to start playing into the game. It's really a when, who, and how. When should grades be reported? They're only required when a student completes and exits with full or partial credit. It's likely to occur a lot in your 100-day file. So when you get errors and it says no grade mark, go in and see if there's an exit date for that kiddo. If there's an exit date, go in and look next, what kind of code did he get? some of this happens behind the scenes, right? You guys don't do any of it. It just, your vendor is doing this for you. I would check it and make sure. Just open up your file. So now we know when and for whom. Any student K through 12 should have a grade reported when they receive an exit code of CF or CP. How? We know, as we talked about earlier, that it's a mixed fruit salad about how we do that. So we've given you at least 15 character link space to take in. We have some opportunities. Right now we don't do a very good job of standards-based grading. So that's one of the things we need to make a decision on. And if you do standards-based, I know that I've already got a really great write-up from Jennifer Galletti. Anybody know who Jennifer is? Anyway, I can't think of what school she's at, but she wrote me a beautiful long thing. Are you Jennifer?
I am.
Jennifer, hi! I still have your deal.
I'm so glad.
And you had a baby.
I had a baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, but
Hey, I'm a blusher.
how's the baby?
Oh, precious.
Awesome.
So precious. Yeah.
Oh, yay! That's really great. Well, Jennifer, I still have your stuff, and I want to work with you and anybody else who's you know, standards-based or has kind of a, you know, you think a unique way, or even if you do the FAME score and you want to be involved in what kind of grading and so on and so, I need your support, just like Mark was talking about earlier. I need your input is what I need, so I can help support you in what you're doing. So. Okay, and really quickly before I go, I just wanted to give you a quick catalog update. We've added all of these courses and groups of courses throughout the way. I want to tell you a little bit about this right here, this bottom course. We added one for 9, 12, and K-8. These are the multi-dimensional independent study courses. These are for the kiddos that might not be in the regular classroom anymore, and they're in a non-freedom of their personal space type of issue or situation. We wanted to be able to offer them some sort of a class, and so if you have that type of situation or your accommodation district, then those are the courses that you want to use, and you can just use one of those for the entire thing. Remember that section identifier? You won't get those double duty course enrollments. Yes, ma'am?
Do they have to be special ed or no?
Do they have to be special ed?
Or anybody? Can I schedule a senior in that course?
In the multi-dimensional independent studies?
Yeah.
These are really for the incarcerated kiddos. Read the course descriptions. Read the, I mean, I just had to put it out there. I didn't know how else to put it.
They still exist as independent students that go to, you know, trying to get caught up.
We have a lot of independent studies, and if you want to call me and we'll take a look, we can browse through the catalog together. I'll help you make some of those choices if you have them. Yeah, there's lots of independent studies. In fact, I think there's an independent study for every single subject that we offer. Submission windows right now, you know, the 100th training product. The end of year submission, we're thinking about around here, the 6th through the 14th of June, or excuse me, May 6th through the June 14th. We know, once again, it's not going to target and hit everybody and fit everybody's needs, but that's kind of what we're thinking right now. If you have any feedback, I'd love it. Probably, it probably won't close. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, it won't close. It won't close. But sometimes people want that block of time. It'll stay open. Yes, ma'am.
Just to reiterate what was said at this table earlier, if you keep it at June 14th,
the problem is, even though we in this room know that it's not a hard close date of June 14th, the superintendents and the higher ups that don't understand that will start to receive these emails then come knocking on our office doors, because the June 14th to them is a hard date. So at least at the end of the year, if we at least move that to July 14th, that would help us out in this room tremendously.
Okay. Great. No, I appreciate that feedback. I can't make that decision by myself, but if you make sure that I get that, I mean, I'll do that. But you know, I'll take it back to especially business owner. I'll be happy to. Anything else about that? Okay, that's fine. It won't close, you know. So no, I'm glad to hear that. Can you put down, Nancy, AOIs don't really close until June 30th, or at least for this one, or you know whatnot. Okay, thank you. That's why we come and share. Just to let you know, just really quickly, data cannot be certified on the training. And the reason why is because we need to pull it from one place. We can't be going, okay, well, is it here? Well, is it from here? So on and so forth. So you can only certify in production. Also, each time you upload a trial, until it's certified, it will overwrite.